Hi class, welcome back. This is still activity 1.1 of week 1. So by now you've done your orientation, you've looked at the bios of the instructors, you saw the welcome video, you looked at our instructor introductory slideshows, and by the way, in the last video I said you were making videos, but in fact you're simply making slideshows, and you've looked at the course syllabus document. I know we're still in the boring bits of the course, but this is the last little boring bit before you get to dive into the course, but it's really important so you have a really good learning experience in this class. So this next couple of minutes we're simply going to talk about course expectations. And what I'm referring to is all laid out in your course syllabus. Oops, sorry. It should look something like this, and hopefully by now I'll have some dates on there for office hours. So I do want you to carefully read through your course syllabus because, again, it lays out all the expectations for this course. And the more you understand that and follow it, and certainly ask if you have any questions at all, then you'll have a much more enjoyable learning experience. And we'll all enjoy getting feedback from each other if we follow those guidelines. There's only 2 required texts for this course. One is called Tribal Leadership, Leveraging Natural Groups to Build a Thriving Organization. You can get the hardcover, the paperback book online. There's also an e-version of this course, which is for free. And I actually used that when I was putting this course together and looking at time estimates. So it was, if you've got any kind of a commute or any time where you're like cooking or something, it's a great way to go through this book. The guy's a really great narrator, has a nice voice. So I would suggest doing that if you don't want to buy the book. The other one is a book called Making Ideas Happen. It is a fantastic book by a guy named Scott Belsky, founder and CEO of the Behance Network. And when you go through your the blog lists later in 1.2, you'll see that he's got a great blog about the 99% as you see there. So 2 great books. That one you'll buy, and I certainly hope that it's a very worthy investment for you. So the course framework, as you've already sort of been introduced, we've got this course is divided into weeks, and each week is somewhat standalone. So each week has a week number and has a week folder. So of course you're in the folder for week 1. And that folder will be available to you sometime before the week that you get started. So usually we do it the Sunday before, but I think for you guys I might make it the Friday before in case some of you only have time to work on the weekends. Now each week folder, as you've already seen, will have lesson folders. As we get into the course, we won't have lesson folders, we'll just have activities, assignments, and resources. But at the beginning of the course, each lesson, there'll be 1 to 3 lessons, will have activities, assignments, and resources. And activities are things that you do, like readings, videos, things like that, that are just various learning experiences. And these are not graded. Assignments, we call them assignments because they're graded, so they're graded activities. And these are things like, I think we've only got 1 quiz in the whole course, but quizzes, posting and replying on the discussion board, writing, working on your portfolio project. These things are called assignments, and you'll have a separate section just for assignments. Most of your assignments are due at the end of the week, which is on Sunday in this course, and we put 11:59 p.m. In other words, you've got the whole day of Sunday to get it in. Notice that some of the assignments are due on a Thursday in the week, and a few are due earlier. If I've got early ones like on a Tuesday, it's only because I want you to post something or look at something so someone else can respond to you. So please, for every week of this course, at the beginning of the week, okay, so Sunday or Monday of the week, look at what lies ahead, and if you can't get to it until the following weekend, that's completely fine, unless there's something that's due earlier, and plan accordingly. I've tried to make every effort to help you plan your time and optimize your schedule and your learning experiences by telling you how much time I expect you to spend and what the points are for each of the assignments. And then the third section is resources, and this is where you'll actually find the access to the videos, links, PDFs, and whatever other resources are needed to do either the activities or the assignments. Okay, so I guess we've already gone over this, so I'll just refer again to make sure you look at what lies ahead for the week and then plan accordingly. Okay, grading. So you can earn a total of 1,500 possible points for the entire course. And how it's set up is that you can earn up to 75 points each week for your graded assignments. So that's a total of 1,125 points. And then you have a portfolio project, which is worth up to 375 points, which is due the last week of the course. So each week you will have assignments. So every single week of the course you can't get ahead and you also can't get behind. So it's easy in an online course to drift since you're not meeting in a classroom all the time. So this way we'll all keep current and it'll be a whole lot better that way. And as I said, each weekly assignment I'll give you a due date, the possible points, and the expected time to complete. So that if it's a written assignment, the expected word length, for example. This is again to help you plan your week and give you an idea of how much effort is expected on each assignment, because you could spend a ton of time and sometimes I'm not expecting that at all. Another thing is that as you'll learn, creative leadership requires communicating clearly, acting with intention, and practicing empathy, both for your other students and for your instructor. So to earn full points, your assignments need to exhibit clear communication, reflect the intention of that learning activity or assignment, and demonstrate empathy for the reader. So general expectations for the assignments are presented in the syllabus, but the idea is that from the very start, I want you to begin practicing being a creative leader, which involves communicating very clearly. So I've put this table in your syllabus. I want you to go through it. And the reason I inserted this is because it's very easy in an online course, especially when you're writing things like blogs and the travel log that you'll be learning about later, to get very casual in our writing style. And it's okay to use conversational style. It is not okay to use improper English, to misspell, to not use punctuation correctly. And it's particularly not okay to avoid using headings. So I need to be able to understand what assignment you're doing, where to find it. And so just practice that right from the very beginning, and that's how you can earn full points. Late assignment policy. We essentially have a no late assignment policy, so that every assignment is due whenever it's stated to be due. However, I understand that many of you are working professionals, you've got families, you've got other obligations. So what I'm going to allow you to do is you can turn in an assignment late, up to a week late, but you'll only get 50% of the possible points, and you'll only receive limited instructor feedback. And assignments turned in more than a week late, you won't be able to score any points and you won't get feedback, but many of these assignments are also for your learning experience, and so I recommend you do those anyhow, even if you don't get points for them. Okay, so you'll see a section on the project portfolio, but I won't go into that here because you'll get to learn about that in lesson 1.3, as it says here. Okay, that's it for this about the course expectations, and you'll soon get to dive into the introduction to creative leadership. All right, so we'll see you in the next lesson.